The Stone Zone. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back in the zone. My name is Ken Matthews. Thrilled to be invited back. I'm always shocked. You know, when you're a guest host, it's always exciting when you get called back because you never know. You never know, you know. 800-848-9222 is the number if you'd like to call in tonight on the Red Apple Audio Networks. Always a pleasure to be in for Mr. Roger Stone. Wow, do we have an action-packed show today. Of course, the big story, the records, everything, documents, maps, all of it released this morning. I don't know if you saw. This is the buzz. All the records approved by President Donald J. Trump regarding the disappearance of Amelia Earhart, her final flight 88 years ago. Hold on a second. I'm choking up a bit. Or maybe that was the sandwich. I'm not sure. It has been declassified and shared with the American people. Starting today, my fellow patriots, these records include reports, maps, other documents tracing Earhart's final journey, her last known communications and location, and the initial search following her disappearance. And then, of course, I got this because I subscribe to the National Archives, because that's the type of patriotic geek I am. And it says, special thanks to President Donald J. Trump and his leadership. A historic initiative is underway to digitize and publicly release all of these records from across the federal government, including newly declassified files today regarding Amelia Earhart, because that's what the people demand. That's what will save our republic. Knowing what the heck happened to Miss Earhart. As agencies identify additional files, the new documents will be uploaded to the National Archive site on a rolling basis alongside previously released archives, so you, ladies and gentlemen, can compare item by item. Wow. Well, at least we have our priorities straight. And I heard something about Epstein today, too. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, because I've been wondering, for decades, I've been wondering about what happened to Miss Earhart. I'd be on my way to school, and I'd be at a light a little too long, maybe. I'd be caught in thought, and I'd say, God, I wonder what it must have been like 88 years ago when she went the wrong way. She's probably on an island living large right now, but she's she'd probably be kind of old. So maybe hopefully whatever happened, it was okay. Not making light of her achievement, but that was one heck of a news release, though, wasn't it? Hey, let's get right to the insurrection. Can we do that, please? Because it looks like it, I'm going to let you listen to it. But here is the issue today. Here's one of the issues that kind of got me excited for the show today, because once again, so few people in the mainstream cover this stuff. And where are my notes? Get me my notes. Okay, there they are. There they are right there. Okay. All right, listen to this. These are Democrats. Every single person I'm about to play for you is a Democrat. Stephen Miller has just accused these congressional Democrats, and I'm about to play for you in a delicious soundbite, of demanding insurrection. And I have to tell you, I don't like to exaggerate much. Well, sometimes I do, but not on the air. But I got to tell you, if you listen to, these are all Democrats elected, congressmen and senators. And I want you to listen to the content of their video message that they have now posted as they ask members of the armed forces and the intelligence community, which I already have an issue with, to rise up against Donald Trump. So Stephen Miller says Democrat lawmakers are now openly calling for insurrection. You tell me, what do you think?
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard
and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army,
or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Wow. Is it me? We want to speak directly to the members of the military and the intelligence community. The American people need you to stand up for our laws and our Constitution. Don't give up the ship. Talk about walking a line. What if I said that? What if someone on the what if a whole bunch of people on the radio said the same thing? Well, they do that already sometimes. And in the news. But what if people just started saying that? You don't think that people would have an issue with that? Now, we have every right to, because of free speech. And you and I pay the salaries of all those people talking and of the military. And some countries overseas as well. But anyway, what is that? Is it me? Am I overreacting? Is Stephen Miller overreacting? I don't think so. I think, and you know the interesting thing, the human brain doesn't develop until you're 25 years old, give or take. It's a little sooner for women. Don't get all excited. Don't get all braggadocious, ladies. Just because you're smarter than men most of the time, okay? I mean, my brain was fully developed. I was in my early 40s, and I felt confident that, or confident, maybe not competent yet, but anyway. So you've got these new recruits. You've got people that are 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. And I never had the honor of serving, but you folks that have served, think about your brain at 19 and 20. And now you're hearing your senator, your congressperson from home saying, don't forget, you don't have to obey every order. You know, don't give up the ship. We got a real nasty dirtbag president, you know. They didn't say that. I mean, they probably say worse than that on the floor, but in the video they didn't. But what do you think about that? 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Was that an overt invitation to insurrection by our elected officials? You see, it just gets so frustrating sometimes. They do what they accuse us of. Isn't that interesting? Now let's move over to some of the fallout from some of the things that have been released so far. Now, as I spoke last night in depth about Epstein, I won't be going in depth anymore because I don't know if you saw, but Congress passed it. Don't get all excited yet because Congress voted to force the DOJ to release it. However, the Senate still has to vote off on it. I'm not sure if they have. It's 14 minutes after 8 East Coast time right now on the Red Apple Audio Network. So I don't know if they're still there or if they voted for it. But even if the Senate votes for it tonight, which could happen, because I would imagine they want to get this out of the way, President Trump still has to sign it. So, however, keep in mind, last week we had that big tranche, I think that's what they call it, a tranche of documents, emails, and text. And now Larry Summers is going into hiding. Yeah. See, he was seeking Epstein's advice on how to cheat with the daughter of an official that he was mentoring And he was asking, Jeffrey, how do I seduce her and everything? And, how can I keep my wife from finding out? And it's a great, you really got to, I'm telling you, these emails are awesome. Larry. What are you going to do, Lawrence? The former Treasury Secretary. I hear people already making excuses for everybody. Well, not everybody. Nobody said they were. Not everybody's a pedophile in there. Not everybody did this. Look, if you are a member of the United States government and you are interacting with a convicted child rapist, pedophile, and in particular asking sex advice, I don't know if you should be in my government. See, we've lowered the bar to such a level. We just keep lowering the bar. You would think we'd be raising the bar. You would think we'd say, never again are we going to have unethical, immoral people that do horrible things to others and treat their family like garbage or treat their employees like garbage or steal and rape and pillage. Nope. The bar just keeps getting lower. Anyway, that was, there's a January 2019 text exchange. So again, there was so much activity in 2019, and this was the year that, if you saw the report, Jeffrey Epstein slipped on a banana peel. It was just an innocent accident. Everybody was doing their job. Nothing suspicious. Wow. So just remember that. You guys, you get up. I mean, I'm getting up in years. You slip, you fall, pretty soon you're hanging from your bed. Anyway, so there's an exchange even as recently as January 2019. So that's just one. So, when I said Larry has gone into hiding, Larry Summers, I don't know him personally. I just like saying Larry. I think Larry is one of those names. It's like a 1960s sitcom name, It's like if the lovely Mary Tyler Moore, who I miss dearly, if she were to invite a guest over on the Dick Van Dyke Show, which I grew up watching as a tiny tot, boom, fall behind the couch, remember? Larry is the guy that would come over, right? It would be Larry. Oh, Larry's here. You don't hear it much anymore. Anyway, wow, talk about going off the rails on that little discussion. So former U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers announced he's stepping back from public commitments after the document has revealed he was getting advice from pedophile and rapist Jeffrey Epstein about seducing an employee. I would think so. I mean, I wouldn't put that on my LinkedIn. Anyway, there's other fallout as well. Listen to this. This is just crazy. Now, people in Congress are starting, maybe they heard the show yesterday. Maybe they're starting to pay attention. They're starting to realize, there's gold in them hills. There's a lot of nuggets in here. So coming up, we're going to play a couple of elected officials that have now been exposed just in the emails and the text of Jeffrey Epstein. I got to tell you, it's delicious. You want to stick around. We have a lot more coming up on the Stone Zone, 800-848-9222. My name's Ken Matthews. We'll be right back.
It's easy to get stuck reaching for the same familiar fruits and vegetables, even when you know a colorful variety is key. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggie supplements don't replace fruits and vegetables, but it makes it easy to add more variety to what you already eat. With 31 ingredients that are whole fruits and vegetables, switching it up is easy because we've already taken care of the hard part. Go to balanceofnature.com and get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using discount code POD.
The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the number is 800-848-9222. My name is Ken Matthews. Pleasure to be here, as always, on the Red Apple Audio Networks and 77 WABC New York. Guest hosting for Mr. Stone. So let's get back to some of and this is just minor fallout. And again, not everybody in a text with Jeffrey Epstein or in an email with Jeffrey Epstein, or for that matter, in a room with Jeffrey Epstein, is guilty of anything necessarily. All the more reason, let us see all the stuff. But as I mentioned before, if you are a public servant, and it's almost become a punchline because how many people in the government are actually servants of anybody but themselves. But let's pretend, okay? If you are a public servant and I and the rest of my fellow American taxpayers are paying your salary and your expenses, you better damn well make smarter decisions, ethically and morally, let alone legally. And we just keep lowering the bar, and then we end up in the bar. I mean, listen to the latest here. This is absolutely crazy. This is what happened today. Here's Congressman Ralph Norman, and he is filing to censure Democrat Representative Stacey Plaskett.
Resolution 888, censoring and condemning Delegate Stacey Plaskett and removing her from the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence for conduct that reflects the discredibility on the House of Representatives for colluding with convicted felon and offender Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional hearing. Whereas Stacey Plaskett, the delegate representing the United States Virgin Islands in the House of Representatives, inappropriately coordinated in real time with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in a congressional hearing in February of 2019. Whereas Delegate Plaskett was actively coached by Epstein during the hearing, receiving instructions on specific lines of questioning, and was congratulated after the message by Mr. Epstein, good work.
Wow. Is there any human being that Jeffrey Epstein did not know or have their phone number? I mean, other than myself and probably you. I mean, not to take anything away from you. Maybe maybe you knew Jeffrey, but I mean, it is so far reaching. It's like people that are known, people that are unknown, people that are rich, people that are not so rich. Young girls, old girls, or gals. 800-848-9222. I'm Ken Matthews. We're in the Stone Zone on the Red Apple Audio Networks.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana. How do I do it all during the holidays? 4 words. Shipt Same Day Delivery. With Shipt, I can order groceries from Albertsons, decor from Michael's, even gifts for my furry friend from PetSmart. Plus, my personal shopper brings everything I need that same day. That makes it a breeze to decorate, get my shopping done, and make time for all the holiday parties. Do it all this holiday season with Shipt. Download the app or visit Shipt.com. That's SHIPT.com.
I'm William Googe, a Vuori collaborator and professional ultra runner from the UK. I love to tackle endurance runs around the world, including a 55-day, 3,064-mile run across the US. So I know a thing or two about performance wear. When it comes to relaxing, I look for something ultra versatile and comfy. The Ponto Performance Jogger from Vuori is perfect for all of those things. It's the comfiest jogger I've ever worn. And the DreamKnit fabric is why I'll always reach for them over other joggers. Check them out in the DreamKnit collection by going to vuori.com/William. That's VUORI.com/William, where new customers can receive 20% off their first order. Plus, enjoy free shipping in the US on orders over $75 and free returns. Exclusions apply. Visit the website for full terms and conditions.
The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The number's 800-848-9222. My name is Ken Matthews in the Stone Zone. 2 nights in a row, always excited to be here with you. And people sometimes wonder, what if I want to, threaten the guest host and there's not enough time? What if I want to troll him or maybe send him a tip? Not a financial tip, like a tip like, hey, did you hear Trump's president? Something like that. Well, my email directly is ken@kenmatthewsmedia.com. Because I'm a guest host, so I'm like, I live in a van down by the river. Ken@kenmatthewsmedia.com. But it's great to be back on the Red Apple Audio Networks. And the Plaskett, Representative Plaskett, she is from the Virgin Islands. So, maybe that's why she was talking to Jeffrey Epstein. She could argue that she was a constituent. What's so fascinating, though, she could argue that he was a constituent. I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate here, but we all know that everybody likes Jeffrey because he knows a lot of people and he has money. And it's amazing that how many people are comfortable with, pursuing him or interacting with him. And it just goes to show that it really doesn't matter in government what anyone does as long as they have the two biggies, power and money. And that's painfully obvious. That isn't how it works down at our level, down in the middle class where we're hanging out, or most of us anyway. That isn't how it works. Because we're like, if your neighbor was arrested for the sex with the girls and all the stuff, and then and you don't think people knew in Washington what the heck was going on? I mean, people talked about the Lolita Express for years. Oh, by the way, did you see that Clinton, Bill, and Hillary both said we're not coming in for the subpoena? We're not coming in to testify. They're untouchable. This is what's kind of funny, I don't know how you're going to drain the swamp. The swamp dwellers just won't. They're not going to come in. And it's interesting because I'm sure you'd kick my door down if I said the wrong thing on a podcast, or if I was at Jan 6th and you confused me with someone else in a video. I'm sure the government would have no trouble kicking my doors down. But do you think you're going to go and get Hillary or Bill or Barack or any number of other powerful, independently wealthy people? They're just going to say no. And then you're going to be stuck. And then you're going to flex your muscles and invade Venezuela. I'm just joshing with you a little bit. Anyway, here's another one. Here's another one. This is Congressman James Comer exposing Hakeem Jeffries, who solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein in 2013, fresh out of prison. Not Hakeem, Jeffrey at the time.
Colleagues' coordination with Epstein. Another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event or to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries as part of their 2013 effort to win a majority. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we found in the last document batch. The files underscore why former President Trump must appear for his deposition. We've subpoenaed him. To date, the Democrats have done nothing to help us secure his appearance. I support full transparency. The Oversight Committee will continue to work to get the truth to the American people and to get justice for the victims. That's our goal of this investigation. With that, I yield back.
Well, thank you for yielding back, because I'm guest hosting right now, sir, and we only have so much time. Thanks for the yield back. Anyway, do we have time? I think we have time for a Trump break. No matter what you think about Trump, the guy is one of the best speakers out there. He holds an audience like no one else. And some of his marketing stuff, whether he cooks it up, which part of me thinks he does a lot of times. You look at some people and you think, I don't know if they could have come up with that by themselves. But I think Trump comes up with a lot of these marketing ideas by himself. Some of the comments he makes and some of the nicknames he comes up with. I mean, I think his mind is going a mile a minute. Well, maybe a little slower now, but I still think he's got the the synergy going on up there.
Doing honest, beautiful, hard.
By the way, he's speaking here at the McDonald's Impact Summit. How'd you like that? The guy who was in your drive-thru, now the leader of the free world, he's your keynoter.
Doing honest, beautiful, hard work and happy families sitting down to a really great meal. Because no matter who you are, everyone loves something at McDonald's. There's always something to have. I like the fish. I like it. You could do a little bit more tartar sauce, so please. Seriously. I hate when I say, do you have any tartar sauce? Do you understand that? Yes, he understands that.
See, this is what most speakers, and if you're a speaker, you know what I'm talking about. If you speak for a living, this is what most speakers don't understand. To go off and on script and keep it together is quite the skill. And that's something a lot of presidents and leaders try to do that. Trump is one of those people. He could go off on a wild goose chase, go off the rails, crack jokes, come up with a nickname, and get right back on message. There's very few people that can do that. But every time I've ever seen him in person, there's always been a memorable, a viral moment, and he just creates those. Like what he said. He likes the fish. There's not enough tartar. That's going to be the talk tomorrow at all the franchise meetings, right? Anyway, I want to jump over to something that this is going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. I had to bring this soundbite in. And then I think we will have time. We didn't yesterday, but we will have time to do a little Charlie Kirk murder investigation update, because the FBI's doing such a crappy job, and they're still circulating the Patsy story, you know, Tyler, what's his name? Tyler Robinson, right? They're still circulating that story, and we're supposed to believe that he was the one that killed Charlie Kirk. And then something came out today with Crooks, the guy that attempted to kill Donald Trump in Butler, PA, that somehow they have similar profiles, and they're trans, or they're into weird animals and stuff. So we're going to get to that, because there's a couple developments in the Charlie Kirk story that the fact that the FBI, I believe, is lying to us, that should not shock you. And the fact that the intelligence community lies to us, that should not shock you. So here's former CIA spy John Kiriakou. And I don't know if you're familiar with John. I follow him from time to time. Like everybody on Earth that was former intelligence, he has his own podcast. But this one caught me, okay? Because I've done a lot of research on this, and this is fascinating, all right? So I want you to listen to this. He's talking about how and why President Donald Trump bombed Iran at the urging of Israel. This is former CIA spy John Kiriakou.
The reason, though, I'm told, that Donald Trump decided to bomb Iran was that the Israelis said, for the first time, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons. And they had never threatened that before. And so Trump said, bombing Iran might actually save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons.
So according to your source, the Israelis told the President of the United States that if he did not use the United States military power to bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran, Israel, acting on its own, would use nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Do you see why there's a problem with that statement, John?
Yeah.
Now, for people who don't know why there's a problem with the statement, he'll explain it in a second. But Israel has been spying in the United States for many years. In fact, the top two spy networks in the United States are Communist China and Israel. And one of the things they were spying on for years, and this really upset John F. Kennedy, you can ask Mr. Stone on this, because I think Roger Stone is probably the expert on John F. Kennedy in this particular building. One of the things the Israeli was spying on constantly was nuclear capability and how to get a nuclear weapon. And they're still the only people in the Middle East that have a nuclear weapon, except they won't admit that they have a nuclear weapon. But they do it privately, and this is not the first time this is leaked out. They flexed privately, but if you have a nuclear weapon, you have to be part of a agreement like we are with Russia and other nuclear powers. So now you know.
Yeah, because they've never admitted that they've had them.
That's right.
So you're telling me that they just admitted to the President of the United States that they have nuclear weapons and we still do not have them in the IAEA treaty?
Mm-hmm. I mean, if Israeli nuclear whistleblowers are to be believed, yeah, they've had them. They started working on them in the 50s.
The Israeli whistleblowers and intelligence community whistleblowers have been blowing those whistles for a long time. And one of the biggest spy incidents involving Israel was in Pennsylvania, of all places, where I live. And that's when a lot of our nuclear secrets got leaked by someone on our side working with an Israeli spy. Yeah, I know. Anyway, it's fascinating. It's very intriguing. And now it does make a little bit more sense, doesn't it? Because can you imagine if this is accurate? Don't forget, Bibi Netanyahu came over to the United States 4 times in 8 months. That's more visits than any other international leader in history. And one of those times he probably said, if this is true, if you don't take them out, we'll nuke them. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that threat? That would bother me.
They got him around the late 60s or the early 70s. Look at Mordechai Vanunu. Mm-hmm. You know, he wasn't charged for treason for nothing.
That's the guy they hid in Rome with the honeypot?
Yeah.
Yeah, 86.
The reason, though.
Notice the term honeypot. Honeypots are big. The United States uses them. MI5, MI6, somewhat. They partner with other intelligence communities. But the Mossad is big on honeypots because it's much easier to get a woman into another country, either in a school or in a company, to get information than a man. And so is, ironically, communist China. You may remember Eric Swalwell and his Asian friend, his communist Chinese friend that he was hanging out with. And it's interesting because earlier, Plaskett, Congresswoman Plaskett, they wanted to censure her, right? Because she was on the Intelligence Committee. They wanted her off the Intelligence Committee because she was chit-chatting with Jeffrey Epstein as recent as 2019, getting advice. Well, don't forget, Eric Swalwell was on the Intelligence Committee. And he was like hanging out with the communist Chinese national. And, you know, it's alleged that, you know, it was... Yeah. So, again, this is the whole honeypot thing. But isn't that fascinating? Did you know that? And it's not the first time either. It's not the first time. I don't know how much history you read, but it's not the first time that Netanyahu or another prime minister has said, look, if you don't do this, then we'll do that. And it's amazing. It's amazing when you look, when you look behind the scenes on that. Now, coming up, what we're going to do is I'm going to update you on some of the latest developments that mainstream media is not allowed to talk about in the Charlie Kirk investigation. Because for some reason, it's all hands off Turning Point USA and the whole Charlie Kirk investigation, which really bugs me. Because it feels like we're getting JFK'd again. That's just me. We'll be right back in the Stone Zone. 800-848-9222. Thanks for listening. I'm Ken Matthews.
The Stone Zone. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm Ken Matthews, filling in for Roger Stone tonight. And if you do want to email me, you can email me directly, ken@kenmatthewsmedia.com. Maybe you have a question, an insult, a threat, a troll, or a tip, or you want to comment and you didn't get through, or you didn't get through on the phone. By all means, ken@kenmatthewsmedia.com. Here on the Red Apple Audio Networks, it's great to be back. And as promised, yesterday, I didn't have time, but I wanted to share with you a couple updates. So we have these 2 Egyptian military aircraft, which have been confirmed in Provo, Utah, starting 6 days before Charlie's murder. 12 to 14 Egyptian nationals, probably military, because it was on a military aircraft, both aircrafts. 12 to 14 on each one. One was a Gulfstream 4, one was a Falcon 7X. This has all been confirmed, right down to flight plans and what was happening the day of Charlie Kirk's murder with these planes, right down to the minute. Like 17 minutes after Charlie was killed, one of the planes, the transponder fired up, and then it was standing by, and it's fascinating, and it's out there, and I'm surprised no one, more people are not covering it. We also know that as of last week, they're trying to account for $8 million, in one of their shell companies. This is Turning Point USA. Now, Turning Point USA, there's Turning Point USA, Turning Point Endowment, Turning Point Action, America's Turning Point, and TPUSA Merch. Those are the 4 that you see, Turning Point USA, and then underneath you have those other companies. They all have separate tax numbers, and they all have to file a Form 990. And what's happening is about 4 months. And this is what drives me crazy as far as the FBI is concerned. Usually in a murder case, especially in a political assassination, you start from the inside and you work out. You don't start from the outside and work in. You start from the inside and work out. So if it was just, let's say someone killed me today. By this point, you might be hoping. So someone kills me today. They're gonna talk to my wife and my kids, and then they're gonna go to people I work with. Then they're gonna go to neighbors. See, they're gonna work their way out. Okay. But for some reason, with Turning Point USA, this investigation started outside with an unknown player, and this patsy. In my opinion, this kid's a patsy. I don't think he had, I think he had something to do with it. I think he was put there and he's a patsy, but I don't think he shot, Charlie Kirk, and I don't believe Kash Patel at all on any of this stuff, including the ballistics. And I'm still trying to figure out why there wasn't an ambulance there, because as a former firefighter, I know you should have an ambulance, and, you should have someone that can do trauma first aid, especially with a crowd of 3,000 plus, and someone, a high value, speaker like Charlie Kirk, he was known to get threats and have enemies, and there was no ambulance, and there was no treatment. He wasn't given first aid. He should have never been moved. He should have been stabilized. The bleeding stopped. That horrible hole in his neck should have been plugged. He should have been gurneyed, and he should have been put in an ambulance, and a trauma person should have worked on him. Never happened. So we have financial issues. We have foreign Egyptian military aircraft and 5 rented cars, all in the orbit of his murder. Who will crack the case? Probably a podcaster. That's always what happens. See you next time. Thanks again for tuning in to the Roger Stone Show.
Thanks for listening to The Stone Zone with Roger Stone. You can hear The Stone Zone with Roger Stone weeknights at 8 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?